Good morning. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, Facebook. Happy Fitness Friday. What's up, everyone? I'm so excited to be here. I'm really excited to talk to you about self-sabotage. It's a super important topic, and I think that it's something that we can all relate to. I think that some of us have experienced this. Good morning. Thanks for saying hi, guys. Good morning. If you're here, let me know. Let's interact. Let's engage. And I think this is a topic that we need to just be really open about. And if you've experienced this type of self-sabotage in your life, or you're experiencing some of it right now, just be open about it and let's talk about it, because it happens to all of us. And in fact, it happened to me, and I was really open about it earlier this week, and I'll share some of that later. But let's just dive in. So first of all, if you don't know me, my name is Jen, and I have been in the fitness industry and a fitness trainer, a fitness studio owner, and a weight loss and nutrition coach for over 13 years. And I have seen my clients do all sorts of self-sabotage, and I myself have done it as well. So let's just dive in. So what I want to start with today is I want to give you a little bit analogy to kind of help, illustrate self-sabotage and why we do it, first and foremost. And then we'll get into some solutions, okay? So stick with me here. And please ask questions as we're going through, and I'll stop and try to answer them. So first of all, let's just pretend for a moment that our weight loss journey is kind of like our car, driving our car. And just bear with me. And let's just imagine for a moment that you're getting so much success, and it's easy to drive your car, and it's easy to lose weight. You're kind of on this journey, you're losing weight, it's feeling really good, everything's awesome, you're in your zone, sweet. Well, let's just say that you get in your car one day and it becomes hard. The steering wheel all of a sudden is misaligned and your alignment's off in your car. Same thing with your weight loss. Things start getting misaligned. Things start getting hard. And when you're driving your car, I'm not ignoring you, Instagram. And when you're driving your car, it's constantly like you have to course correct it. And you're constantly fighting the steering wheel, trying to get it to go back into alignment and stay on course. And it feels like you have to focus the whole time and stay really, really focused and hold on to the steering wheel really, really hard to stay on track, to keep your car from derailing, just like your weight loss goals, right? Like you've got to work really hard all of a sudden. All of a sudden it feels like, God, this is so much work. It's so frustrating. I have to do so much work. And I'm so angry because everybody else looks like it's so easy for them, right? Like it's so easy for them to just go right along, lose their weight, and they have all this discipline, and you start to get resentful, and all these things start to happen once you start your journey, right? Just like with a car, you kind of get like, why can't I just have a car that drives smooth and I don't have to constantly course correct? Same thing. So when you start feeling that way, something happens. We start to feel bad. Well, we want to feel better again. So let's just say you're driving your course-correcting car that's misaligned, and you drive to Albertsons maybe to get the healthy groceries that are going to keep you on track because you've been doing so well. And guess what happens? You walk into Albertsons, and the Girl Scouts are standing there with the Samoas. They're standing there, they're smiling at you, and you try so hard to avoid them, just like you're trying so hard to stay on track. And you can't get them out of your mind. And so you go in the store, and tell me if this sounds familiar to you guys, because I'm guilty too. So you go in the store, and all you can think about is, hi Insta, is all the Girl Scout cookies that you're like, wow, that sounds really good. Sounds really good. So you get outside and you just can't avoid them. They smile at you, and you justify it, and you buy a box, and you say, oh, well, or maybe you buy 2 boxes, or maybe you buy 3, and you justify it, and you say, oh, my kids want them, or my husband wants them, or I'm just going to give them to the neighbor, right? Well, great, fine, but then you get back in your car, and your car is super hard to drive, and you get super frustrated again, and you're constantly course correcting, and you're trying to get it back on track, and you're angry, and you're mad that you're working so hard, and you get home, and you've got 2 choices, right? You can actually solve the problem and take the car to the mechanic and get to the root of it and figure out what's really wrong with your car and why you have to keep course correcting and why it feels so hard. Or you can kind of wait and procrastinate. And instead, you can make yourself feel better. You can self-soothe because you feel like it's hard. And you feel like you're frustrated, and you feel like you can't win, and no matter what you do, It's just a fight. So you leave the car in the garage, go inside, and you decide to have a cookie. Because what does that do? It releases serotonin in your brain and it makes you feel better. You're self-soothing. When people say self-sabotage, it's really self-soothing. You're creating something to make yourself feel better, to try to take care of yourself. So you go in and you have one cookie. And I don't know if this is if this is resonating with you and this has happened to you, it's okay. It's happened to me too. You can raise your hand and tell me. I'd love to know. So if you have felt yourself like you've been in this situation or something similar, type number 1 right now. Let me know that you're with me. Let me know that this is landing with you. The only way I can help is if I know it's landing. So if this has happened to you, it's happened to me. It happened to me this week. I'll tell you about it. Give me number 1. So now you eat one cookie. And then you're like, well, if I'm eating one cookie, I may as well eat 2 cookies. And then you get the screw-its. Because now, all of a sudden, 2 cookies turns into 3, turns into 4, and then all of a sudden, the box of Samoas is gone. Sound familiar? Happen to anyone? I get it. I've been there. In fact, I did it this week with wine, and I'll tell you about that later. But so now you're in this cycle. Right? Your car's still misaligned. You're still misaligned. And now you feel guilty. You feel shameful. You feel disgusted with yourself. You're angry that you did it. You don't really know why you did it because you just wanted to feel better in the moment. Right? And the cycle continues. So now the next day you wake up and you're going to go work it off at the gym. You're going to get right back on track. You're going to go. And you start to get in your car and it's still misaligned and it still feels hard. And that's because you haven't taken it to the mechanic or you haven't learned how to intuitively and consciously change what your subconscious is telling you. Right? Because we all consciously know that the cookies aren't good for us. We all consciously know that we should be doing certain things to keep our weight loss goals on track. But subconsciously, we're trying to, feel better, right? Our minds are telling us that we need to feel better. And so we self-soothe. So there's a few things that go into that. And we'll talk about that in a moment. But there's some other ways that we self-sabotage also. So I'm going to tell you about those, and then we're going to talk about how to solve them. And some tools that I've used in my journey with food obsession and, my struggle through eating disorders to kind of help you here. Okay, so there's a few other things that can cause or trigger self-sabotage. And a lot of it has to do with subconscious and not being mindful or aware of what we're feeling or going through. But another thing is that it's about procrastination. So sometimes we procrastinate and that becomes self-sabotage when we feel like we're overwhelmed or there's too much to do or your list is too long or there's too much work involved in exercise and weight loss and all the things that you need to do in order to reach your goal. And that's because, you guys, we've set ourselves up for self-sabotage because we've set our goals and our bar too high. You're leveling up too fast. When you level up too fast, you can't catch up. So that's why when you procrastinate, it's because your goal is too big and it feels overwhelming. And so you, instead of starting something, you just refuse to start because it feels so out of your grasp, out of reach, right? So the best way to change that type of self-sabotage behavior is to change the way that you're looking at your goal and to create smaller increments so that it doesn't seem so overwhelming. And that's why I'm such a proponent of changing habits small every day so that there's no overwhelm and so that you don't procrastinate, right? And you start and you finish. Because if you have this large, lofty goal that feels so overwhelming and that there's no way you can accomplish that and that you can't even reach it, you can't even visualize it, you can't put yourself in that vision, then you're never going to finish because you're never going to start, right? Is that landing with you guys? I hope it is. For some reason, I can't see your comments right now. Oh, wait. Yes, I can. Good. I'm glad it's landing with you. Thank you for saying one. It was peanut butter late last night. I'm the peanut butter queen. I have a story. If you look at my Instagram, Carrie, or my YouTube, you'll see my peanut butter story. And mine's wine too a lot, Sarah. There's a trigger there. So I'm glad you guys are here with me. And thank you for being part of it. I appreciate it. So let's talk about that also. So another form of self-sabotage, and then we'll move through some tools, is perfectionism. And that goes back to setting those lofty goals. So when you set these huge goals for yourself that are really, thank you for the thumbs up, you guys. If it's landing, let me know. So the hearts are easier for me to see, so that sometimes when I'm reading or I'm talking, I can't do two things at once. So just let me know it's landing. But sometimes when you have these big lofty goals, you get into this perfectionism attitude, right? Where if we can't do things perfectly, we just don't do them at all, right? We just don't, no, we may as well just give up. We're not even gonna start, right? So a lot of women do this too. Women have this thing with perfectionism where we feel like if we can't be at the gym for an hour, thanks for the hearts, you guys, if you can't be at the gym for an hour, then we're not gonna go at all. If we can't eat perfectly, we're not gonna do it at all. If we can't have the perfect environment, if we're gonna go on vacation, that's just life, then we just don't start. Well, we can't ever finish if we don't start, right? So when we talk about perfectionism, I always want to use another analogy for you guys too that you might find helpful, is this bullseye analogy. Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate it, you guys. I'm glad this is landing with you. And Sarah said that she calls it the fuckets. Called screw it's, but thanks, Sarah. So let's talk about this for a second. There's this thing I like to give people an analogy on. So get out of the perfectionism mindset. Just get out of it. Throw it away. And this is a really good way for you to do that. So let's pretend like you're learning to shoot archery. I use this analogy a lot because if you're learning to shoot archery, you're learning to shoot for the bullseye. Everyone wants the bullseye, right? Because the bullseye, if you're maybe learning to shoot archery, is because you want to hunt. And you're always thinking for the bullseye because the bullseye is the center of the animal that you want to shoot or hunt, kill. And that's the heart, right? Well, guess what? When you're shooting archery, there's 3 outer rings. And most of the time, 90% of the time, we hit the outer rings. We don't always hit the bullseye. But guess what? If you're out and you're hunting and you've learned archery and you're trying to kill the deer and you don't hit the heart, you hit the outer rings around the bullseye, you're still going to kill the deer. Got it, you guys? It's still going to happen. It might not happen perfectly, but it's still going to happen. Give yourself some grace, okay? So I've talked about some reasons why we self-sabotage. I want you to know you're not alone. I've been doing this for so long. I've seen every case of self-sabotage you could possibly imagine. Please don't think you're alone. Please don't think you're in this by yourself. I get it. I understand. And this is some of the deep work I do with my clients when we do some one-on-one stuff. It's also some of the work that we're doing in my 60-day program. So let's go back. So when we're in this moment of your car's in the garage, let's go back to the cookies are in the freezer, and you're feeling like you need to self-soothe because you're frustrated, angry, something's coming up for you that's just making it hard. And so you want to make yourself feel better. Well, in that moment, we're really not thinking about it in a logical way. What happens in that moment is that it's a subconscious situation, right? And so what we need to do is we need to get mindful. And it's really easy for me to sit here and say this, but I've been through it, and I believe me, I know how this goes. But in those moments of self-soothing, consciously we know it's not a good idea to eat cookies or the whole box of cookies. Subconsciously, we just want to feel better. There's nothing wrong with you from eating the cookies. It's you're trying to make yourself feel better. It's like you're actually doing the best thing you can, or with the tools that you have in that moment, to take care of yourself. It's a great thing. It is. You just have to turn it. You just have to turn it, you guys. And the way that you turn it is you have to stop and drop in. You have to learn that there's an emotion there that's connected with that. And most of us go through our life and we're not mindful enough to understand that there's an emotion behind it. And we don't have the tools that we need in order to find it, to label it and to understand it. And then once we have it and we know what that emotion is, we don't know what to do with it, right? So this is what I ask you to do. I know this is a lot, but the key to getting mindful, the key to understanding the link between the conscious and the subconscious and being able to understand is for you to get present, for you to get and to tap into the subconscious. And the only way you can do that is to get quiet. The only way you can do that is to tap in. The only way you can do that is to drop into the emotion and to actually feel it and then learn to let it go in a different way. So with my programs, with my clients, a big piece of getting through some of these underlying reasons of why we self-sabotage, why we have the struggles with weight loss, why there's the yo-yo, is because we don't tap in, we don't take the car to the mechanic. actually get to the root cause. Thanks for the hearts and the thumbs up, you guys. The root cause of it. We don't ever solve it, right? We just put it in the garage, forget about it until next time. Don't do that. Don't do that, you guys. So there's some really good tools and tips that I give in my program. So I'm going to give you one right now. The biggest thing you can do, and I know this seems daunting, but if you really want to solve it, you got to start to meditate. I'm going to do something for you guys today too. I have a really simple meditation that I've recorded on SoundCloud. And it's a simple meditation for you, and it's under 5 minutes. And it will help you to start to calm down that mind, to drop in, to get quiet, so that you can get into the subconscious and really start to understand those emotions. Being mindful is key. Being mindful of the emotion coming over you. Being mindful of why you're standing in the pantry. Being mindful of why you're opening the refrigerator over and over again and shoving things in your mouth without thinking about it. Being mindful is key. Getting into your subconscious and being mindful happens in meditation. And it also happens in journaling, and we do that with my programs also. And I know this sounds daunting and overwhelming, but sometimes you've got to do a little extra work to get to the gold. Sometimes you do. It seems like a lot at first, but in the long run, it's not. And this is key. This is key to long-term success. This is key to getting off the yo-yo dieting. Okay, so, and sometimes when we don't know how we feel until we write it. I say that all the time. And so journaling is huge, because sometimes you don't even know that you're feeling something or have the emotion until you write it. And that's what happened to me this week. I actually had a breakdown this last week, and I talked about it in my group. I talked about how I hadn't been drinking wine for over a month, and then I woke up Tuesday and it had been exactly a month, and I woke up with why I'm going to go drink wine. I'm going to go enjoy myself because I deserve it. And I had this whole story I wrote in my head. And I had to go back to those basic practices of getting mindful of what I was trying to self-soothe. What was I trying to create? What was I trying to feel good by giving myself that wine or food or whatever I was in my head? For me, it was wine at that moment. That I'm not feeling good in my life. What am I missing in my life that I'm trying to make myself feel better with that? And I realized what it was. I'd been moving, it'd been snowing. I don't do good when it's dark in the wintertime. I get super depressed in winter. It was dark, I was moving, I wasn't getting out with my friends, I wasn't experiencing joy, I was just working nonstop and being stuck in my house at cabin fever, and I realized that's what it was. But I had to actually write and meditate and sit quietly for 3 minutes to figure that out. So I challenge you guys to do this meditation. I'm gonna actually put the link here for you today. And I'm going to give this gift to you. And I want you to just try it. Don't let it seem overwhelming. Just try it. This is an actual meditation that I give to my one-on-one clients. This is something that I'm gifting you today for being here and for being present. And I'm going to put the link here, and you can try the meditation, because I just want to help. And those of you that are here have self-sabotage. You're doing it right now. You might have done it last night. You might have done it this morning, and you might think about doing it this afternoon. And maybe this meditation will help you get clarity. Thanks for the hearts, you guys. I appreciate it. So after this is over, I'm going to post it here, and I want you to try it. It's just a little SoundCloud link. It's under 5 minutes. It is worth it. Start to practice that mindfulness every day, and you can start to connect the emotion to the reaction so that you can bridge the gap. And instead of having that gap in your intention to be healthy and to lose weight and the action of actually doing it, you can bridge it together and understand the pieces that go along with it. Does that make sense, you guys? So landing with you. I know this is a long one. I usually only do a 15-minute live, but it's a big topic. Okay, so thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time and allowing me to guide you in this and help. I hope it helped in some way. If it did, please let me know. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate you. I'm going to post this on my YouTube also, and I have lots of videos there also if you guys haven't checked it out. So I'll put the link here, and then I also want to make one more announcement before I go. If this landed with you, and you guys feel connected to this, and you feel it could help somebody else, and you feel like this is something other people might need to hear, share it. Be a guiding light. Thank you for the hearts. Be a guiding light to other people, and share this video with them. Invite them to the group. I'm doing my 60-day program right now, and today's the last day to get $50 off. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I'll put that link here too. But this 60-day program, I tap into this more so that we can cure this cycle, this vicious cycle. We can get the tools we need to empower ourselves to not do the yo-yo dieting, to actually finish what you start, and to not beat yourself up about it, and to understand the reasons why we do it in the first place. Make sense? Okay, you guys, thanks again for being here. And I will pop those links here. And if you have any questions for me ever, please just ask me. I want to serve you and I want to help. So message me on Instagram, private message me, whatever it's called. I was getting confused. Send me a message and I'll do my best to get back to you within 24 hours. Okay, have a beautiful weekend and happy Friday, you guys.